Congratulations, that was one of the stupidest things that I've ever seen anybody post on the internet before.
Really? Really? I'll tell you how the thing that is now higher than the plane and is still gaining altitude, even if it's not on a straight line, but it's still gaining altitude, is going to low Earth orbit. That'll be because it's still gaining altitude. The hell are we having to deal with? I'm going to get a drink. You can listen to the intro. Yeah, the stupidness is going to keep coming tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Sarcastic Barman and welcome to my channel. That first bit of stupidity tonight was brought to you by Flatzoid FE. Because you're fucking what? The thing's obviously getting higher. I don't see what you don't understand about that, but you're a flat earther. There's probably many things you don't fucking understand. But at least you're not as bad as some of the other flat earthers and some of the other stupidness we've come across this week, which is fucking surprising to believe. But there's also been just this.
2 words, fuck off.
This is fascinating. I remember very clearly, I think anybody who was alive at the time does. I remember my parents waking me up and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation.
Yep, the filming of the landing itself was basically mostly animation, as seen here. You have no problem with that, because what was going to film it? I mean, come on now. Are you really that dense as flat earthers? Oh, obviously you are, because there's comments like this that think this is a good find. No, it's not. It just goes to show that you fucking moronic moon landing denying assholes haven't actually watched any of the moon landing stuff. And I'm going to be amused at doing this. You haven't actually done any research into it at all, have you? No, you've just gone along with blind faith stupidity at this point. Fucking hell. And it goes on to just this. Yep, the Earth isn't flat. It's definitely round. And we definitely went to the moon. And if Dirth had spent half as much time on research as he did on that little animation at the end, he probably wouldn't release content that was so mind-numbingly stupid that I have to go and look at it and go, oh my god, how fecking stupid are you? We can see from the fecking still here. I got it right. That's obviously the still of the mock-up of the landing. And that's studio conditions, which doesn't look like the moon conditions now, does it? If they're going to try and fool you, they'd at least make it look like the moon tapes that you think are faked. But no, they didn't. So it just goes to show that you people are too fucking lazy to go and check things out. But we do have another lazy person who never checks things out and just fucking bollockses everything up. That'll be Eric fucking DeBay then.
Space fantasy fanboys and fangirls have just received their latest damage control propaganda update from actor Richard Branson.
Hang on a minute. So because he's an actor, does that make him a liar? Does that affect his ability to go into space or anything? Because, funnily enough, if actors are all liars, then there's that. You've got an IMDb page. And you are an actor in your film. And your IMDb page just literally calls you a con man at the start of it as well. So, is this just jealousy because Branson's got more acting credits than you? He's got 11. I was quite surprised. I didn't realise he'd been in that much. Obviously, Simpsons. He was in Superman. Wow. Fair play. But your point being what? He's an actor. Fine. He went, 86 kilometres or something like that? And are you going to actually give him any evidence to why he couldn't go that high?
Where he claims to have gone to space and filmed the spinning ball Earth for us. But really, he just did some parabolic maneuvers, simulating free fall while in a fancy plane.
Well, according to Theodore von Karman, the inventor of the Karman line, he did go to space because he went over the 80-kilometre mark. The NOAA has now set the border of space in the Karman line to 100 kilometres, so in theory, no, he didn't go to space, but it is basically the start of space tourism. You can deny all you want and you say, it's just a fancy plane. Well, yeah, he wasn't trying to get into orbit. He doesn't need a big rocket. But it's the first steps on getting towards the idea of a space hotel, a space station orbiting up there along with the ISS that you'll see from Earth that you can go on holiday to. What are flat earthers going to do then? I mean, you don't think it's coming because you're fucking dense, but still.
Unfortunately for old Dick and his riders, rather than use a normal lens to film the Earth, like all honest amateurs do when sending up their high-altitude balloons, these space virgins, just like NASA, SpaceX, the Red Bull Dive, and all other so-called official sources, always suspiciously choose to use a fisheye lens, causing the horizon to constantly and radically warp from convex to flat to concave.
Branson doesn't care what shape you think the Earth is. He'd probably laugh his tits off at you for saying the Earth is flat. And he'd probably come out with, I've basically been to space, screw you. If you then probably proceeded to call him a liar, he may punch you or sue you for slander. Either one of those would be fucking hilarious. But there is probably a reason why wide-angle lenses were chosen. And as you can see from this bit I've pinched from Mr. Sensible, here's Mage. Now, as you can see, the wide-angle lens, you usually see the horizon. It's staying in for most of the time, despite the balloons wobbling and weaving and everything like that. Whereas the main camera, with minimal barrel distortion and straight reference edges, I might add, you don't always see the horizon. But when you do, and it goes in between the lines so you can see properly, it's not fucking flat. Oh dear. So it doesn't matter what lens they've taken up. If they'd taken up a minimal barrel distortion lens, you'd be screwed because they'd show curve. You're just lucky that they did take wide-angle lenses just so they could see as much as possible. They're not trying to prove the shape of the Earth, they're trying to sell tickets for people to go to space.
As the camera tilts relative to the horizon, the ends warp up or down respectively, but when held still and level, the horizon is flat. As the normal back camera shows, the horizon actually remains perfectly flat and rises to the eye level of the camera all the way up. If the Earth was actually a globe, no matter how large, the surface of the globe would curve downwards in all directions away from the observer, causing them to necessarily tilt their heads down more and more the further they ascended to be able to see the horizon. In reality, which is only consistent with rising over a flat plane, the horizon rises along with the observer and remains precisely at eye level for the entire ascent.
Are you still peddling this lie? Because by this point, you must know it's a lie. No amount of ignorant stupidity could ever leave you to think that the horizon rises to eye level. Because it fucking doesn't. It's been pointed out to you many times by many, many people, myself included, that the horizon doesn't rise to eye level. The higher you go up, the more it drops. And if you take any precision measuring equipment, you can check this. But I notice no flat earthers ever want to check it. Unlike this one. Or this one. Or this one. The horizon doesn't rise to eye level. You know this, Eric DeBay. You're a lying little toe rag. That'll do for Eric DeBay. We've got something else, though, that we've been sent via Twitter. It's going to be stupid, isn't it? Let's have a look.
Hello everyone, welcome back. I know it's been a while since we have done a video about the sun, but I've had a lot of people ask me one question in particular, and that is, why doesn't the sun appear to get smaller as it circles above the earth and moves away from us like it should?
Oh, that's an easy question to answer. It's because the world isn't fucking flat. Otherwise, yes, you would expect the sun to shrink into a little dot before it vanishes. You'd also expect the horizon to rise up to eye level, and we know how fucked that an idea is. But go on, give us some sort of stupid explanation.
It should change size dramatically, and that is not a false assumption. If there were no plane or atmosphere, the sun would definitely change sizes to a degree that's observable and noticeable, and we could just repeat that observation and destroy the heliocentric model altogether.
Except there is an atmosphere. There's no plane. Fucking stupid word. It's an atmosphere, because we live on a fucking ball. But anyway, digressing. Yes, you should still be able to see the sun shrinking to a dot regardless of the atmosphere, because that's what should be happening. It should be shrinking to vanishing points, not fucking disappearing behind a curve. And yes, you will get some slight distortion and some slight variation, but it's not a fucking lot.
So I want to look at the proof we have that the sun is moving away from us and circling above, and we're going to look at those from a few different perspectives. I'm not going to just look at one thing that supports what I believe. I'm going to look at a lot of things and leave them linked for you guys to explore yourself. Try to keep this as short and to the point as possible. And one thing that a lot of people point out is that when you use a solar filter, that the sun doesn't change size. You can watch a time lapse and the sun will remain the same size.
That was a long 37 seconds for someone who says they want to be quick and precise. And yes, if you use a decent solar filter, you can track the sun and then go, look, it stays basically the same size. I think the changing size of the sun, though, is less of a problem for flat earthers than just the angle to the sun that people see it at all over Earth, because that doesn't quite work for you, does it? If you've got a big flat earth map and someone can see from one side and one see from the other, and then someone's in the middle and it's noon, the angles don't really work for you, do they? They're just completely and utterly screwed. Oh, shame, oh, shame. We might cover that in a later video. For now, let's watch this bit.
So you go on Google or DuckDuckGo or wherever, and you hunt down this footage. There's a few of them you find, and one of them is from a channel that's actually trying to prove that the sun doesn't change sizes. And they share their footage. They don't do any comparison of the before and the after. They just share the footage, and when you watch it, it looks like there isn't a very big size change. But if you take screenshots and zoom way in and compare these, you can tell pretty instantly that there's a significant change in size. So you can do that yourself. I'm going to leave the link in the description. I'm not wanting you guys to go back to that particular video and be like, oh, you were debunked or anything.
Okay, let's have a look. I've taken 3 screenshots. First one from the highest point. There we go. We got it roughly right there. So yeah, about 82. About 83. These are all only rough. And about 80. Yeah, so they're all about the same size acrossways. We obviously went from lightest to fucking settingest. We go up on that one. Yeah, that looks good. Go to the, what would be the second picture. Oops, oh, come on, come on. There we go. Yeah, about the same. Third one. Less. But as we can see here, it doesn't look particularly round either. So I think the distortion started to get the best of that one. Now, as we can see from those, they're all basically the same size. There's a bit of compression on the very last one, which is where it's closest to the horizon, from top to bottom, not from side to side. So your prospective argument for the sun shrinking into a little dot does get a little bit buggered at that point, shall we say. I'll link Wolfie's video down below. I'm sure most people have seen his sun things by now. And if they haven't, joy, go check it out. Leave a comment. Say some weird person you've probably never heard of, Wolfie, called the Sarcastic Barman sent me. You think, who the fuck is that? Because I bet he's got no idea who I am. Oh, insignificance. Anyway, earlier tonight I had a lovely live stream with the Creaky Blinder. I hope you go and check that one out. Link will be in this corner now, because I've got to start winding up, because I think that's all the time we've got for tonight. If you want, leave a comment down below. We can have a look at the rest of his sun arguments and things like that. We'll see if he covers angles to the sun or anything, if he's just going for the sun size. Thank you to Dunn, who sent this as flat earth proof. Yeah, thanks. He was on a Twitter fucking argumenty silly thing. Joys. I think that's everything we say. Don't forget to check out all the shows. Don't forget to check out Pain of Progress. Don't forget to check out all your favourite creators. Check your reminders. Check your bell buttons. All that jazz. And we'll see you all on the next one. Good night.